let's do some project planning for the rest of the year. The past few months and even maybe the past year, I just haven't felt the urge to knit and crochet as much. I haven't been as inspired to make. Things have been kind of slow in the mojo department, but very recently I have been feeling the pull to make more, and I've actually finished off like 3 or 4 projects in the last week or 2, which is exciting. But that also means that I need to cast on some new projects, and since I'm excited to make and I'm excited to cast on, let's do some project planning and take a look at what I hope to make for the rest of the year. Hi, my name is Emily Crow from Crochet Creations or The Cozy Crow, and welcome to my YouTube channel. Like I said, today we are doing a project planning video, and I know it's August, but I am really excited for the fall and winter months. I have been melting here in Utah. It's been like greater than 95 degrees Fahrenheit for like weeks on end, and I am sick of it. But it is about 85 degrees right now, so I'm doing better, but I will have to turn on the fan soon because I'm starting to feel the melting. But I'm really excited. Right now, I am really enjoying my crocheting and my knitting, and I'm feeling the desire to make more time to do those crafts. And I've been kind of in a rut recently, and so I want to take advantage of this mojo that I have. So I wanted to take a look at all the projects that I could potentially make throughout the rest of this year, keeping in mind holidays coming up, birthdays, other events that I want to make things for, other yarn purchases that are coming in, but especially things for my stash. Just kind of taking it all in and kind of prioritizing what projects I want to work on first so I can cast on some new projects today, and I can look forward to more fun things that I plan to make this year. If you've been watching my YouTube channel, you would know that since I started working about 1.5 years ago, I have not had as much energy or time to make. And so that's definitely reflected in the types of projects that I've been working on. And I just need something fresh right now. I'm really excited to start some new projects. I've got a couple test knits coming up, but I also hope to get a lot of other things done because I'm wanting to do more knitting and crochet right now. So let's take a look at my stash, pull some things that I hope to work with, and talk about the kind of projects I think I will want to make throughout the rest of this year. Okay, so in the past, as seasons have changed, I have gone to my stash and pulled out the yarns that have been inspiring me, either because of a specific project I have in mind for them, or just the color palette is leaning towards the colors that I want to work with in the upcoming months. And I haven't done that in a little bit, but I think that's kind of what I'm going for. I'm going to pull some yarn down that's inspiring me, and then I'll talk about the kind of projects that I think I may want to prioritize coming up in the next few months. And then we're going to do some casting on of some things I want to work on now. Shelves don't look too bad, but my floor, oh man. Brought out some whips or projects already in bags. Ooh, let's get into this. Okay, so I did say project planning for the rest of this year, which is like 4.5 months. But you'll notice that a lot of the yarns I pulled aren't necessarily fall yarns, aren't necessarily holiday yarns, and that's because that's just not what I am drawn to at this moment in time. The yarns that I pulled are projects that I want to be working on or that I want to have this coming fall and winter season, and so they are things that I could potentially be casting on today. I'm sure I will not be casting on all these projects today. I'm sure that I will not be making all of these projects this upcoming fall and winter season, but this is what's inspiring me right now, and so this is like a good place for me to start to look at and plan and prepare. I'm sure that in 2 months, when I'm fully in fall mode, I'm going to want some of the more fall colored yarns from my stash to either make some random socks or a hat or things like that. And I am leaving myself open to do that. This is a very loose and general type of planning session. So I'm just going to talk about the things that I pulled and things that I'm thinking about right now, And then after we go over that, I will decide what I want to cast on today. Okay, first category is things that I have started that are currently works in progress that I really want to work on and finish for this season. First is my Grove Light shawl by Sarah Opie. Ta-da! I don't even know. I think this might be the front. It's a garter stitch shawl that uses 4 colors and a fade. I am almost halfway, so I should keep working on it. I put this down a long time ago. These yarns are from Through the Wardrobe Yarn Co., their weekly advent countdown calendar from last December. So it hasn't even been a whip for a year. It's not that bad. But I would love to have this finished before this coming advent season because I just love these colors together and they're just like so cozy. Actually, I have one more color. I'm almost to the middle color. That'll be in the very middle of the shawl. So I'm not as close to halfway as I thought, but I don't think I'm super far away from starting that color either. But I put this down months ago probably, and I just need to pick it back up and work on it because it's not that hard. But now I got to figure out where I am in the pattern, and that'll be the hard part. Another whip that I would love to have finished is my Aster Blanket by Mallory Crawl. This is a crochet pattern, and I'm using Woolberry Fiber Co.'s Book Society boxes and the yarns that come in them to make this blanket. Now you'll see I modified this pattern a little bit. I added an extra round of special puff stitches that I kind of finagled myself. And I have every color from, this is the summer box. I have every color from the summer box all together in one square. And then I'm going to use a neutral to join all the squares together. I've got 4 different configurations. You can watch my videos about Woolberry Fiber Co.'s Book Society boxes if you want more information about that. But I have 3 boxes. Only one of them I've done all the crochet for, and there's 1 box coming up. So I would love to work on more of these squares for both the summer box and the winter box are the ones that I still need to crochet in time for me to open the fall box and be on top of that, and then hopefully join all of these squares together by the end of the year. I would love to do that. I also have this super nice project bag from Ziploc that is full of some minis and scrap yarns that I was using for the Gnome Made Gifts Gnome Knit Along by Sarah Shira that I kind of participated in, but actually all I did was make a teeny tiny scarf, and this is the Mystery Gnome Knit Along Advent type of knit along from 2022. So it's been lingering for a while. I would love to actually finish this and use up some of these scrap yarns from my stash. So that's another lingering whip that I would love to just work on and get done and have another cute gnome for my stash that you can't see. Ta-da! I've got a bunch up there. So those are all the projects that are lingering that I would love to work on and even complete in the next few months. Let's talk about the projects that I have planned and prepared for that are already ready to go, ready to cast on basically, but I have not done so yet. These are the projects that have been lingering in my to cast on pile. All right, so I have this yarn caked up. This is Bennett Sisters by Nomadic Yarns. It's a little messy because it's been hanging out for a while. And a mini and oh my gosh, I can't talk, an olive colored mini to go with it. And I would love to make some socks, maybe some shorties, maybe some journeys. I don't really know. But this is just a 50-gram skein, and I just have been wanting to work on this, and I just haven't. I've also got this yarn from Kimber's Cozy Creations that is just beautiful. Sorry, gotta work on the shadows. So this is the color Aurora Borealis, and this is, ooh, there's a name for this black. Let's see, it's called The Void, and these are both Kimber's colors. She was working on a hat, the Alaska hat by, I can't remember the name. I'll make sure to have all this information down below for you. This Alaska hat was beautiful, stunning. I loved it, and I really want to cast it on. I think it would be really fun to just do a colorwork hat, kind of a smaller colorwork project. I also have this Cascade Heritage sock yarn in this like off-white color, white color for my daughter. She wanted white socks. And I have a pattern in mind. I'm gonna make the tea leaf socks modified to fit her size. This pattern is by Carly Perrins. I tested this pattern in my size a couple months ago, and I asked my daughter and she said she liked the pattern, and I'm going to do it in this yarn so that it has this cute ruffle on it and this fun texture. I just haven't cast it on yet. She hasn't bothered me about it, and so I haven't felt compelled to do this project. So I should definitely check with her and make sure she still wants that, because 3-year-olds have ever-changing minds. But if she still wants that, I should just cast it on and get it done with, because it'll be a really fun and quick project that is just like so cute. And my daughter doesn't ask for a lot of knitting and crochet things, so if she wants those socks, I should make them for her. I also have some yarn that's left over my stash. This is Palette in the color Ice Lily, this beautiful mauve color. I used this in a sweater a couple years ago, but I have like a skein and a half left just in my stash, and I'm planning on using this in a test knit that I'm doing for Maven Handcrafted, Rachel Raimo, that she's sending out this week. So I'm really excited to start on that. It's fingerless mitts with a fun texture on top. I don't remember if it's lace and cables or just cables or what, but it'll be really fun and cozy to knit these up. And then I also have this other Knit Picks yarn. This is Swish Worsted in the color Garnet Heather. I have been meaning to make the Everett pullover for years now, and I just haven't cast it on. I think it's a bottom up sweater, and so that's one of the reasons I just haven't gotten around to it yet. But I want to make it as my Christmas sweater this year. I want to prioritize this because I've had this yarn for a while. Worsted weight, it'll work up pretty fast, and I need to work on it. I'm really excited. It's got some really beautiful cables that just remind me of like ribbons tied on presents, and it's just such a great vibe for Christmas, and the color too. And because these are 50-gram skeins, they'll be really satisfying to work through because I'll be constantly starting a new ball of yarn. And so I think it'll be a really good motivational thing to work on this project too and feel like I'm making lots of good progress. So those are all the projects that I've had in mind for a long time that I just haven't casted on yet. Let's talk about some of the yarns I just pulled from my shelf and the things that I think I might be making with it if I decide to wind up this yarn and cast it on within the next little bit. We'll start with some garments. I have this beautiful yarn. It is from Treehouse Knits, the Midnight Children in Organic Sock Non-Superwash. It's 100% non-superwash merino wool. I love non-superwash yarns, like how they feel to knit. Like these really soft non-superwash yarns have just the perfect kind of tooth to them. They're just a really pleasant experience to knit. I have knit with Treehouse Knits non-superwash yarn before, and I actually made a ranunculus, a short sleeve and crop ranunculus in their DK weight. And I love that sweater, like so much. Tee. We'll call it a tee because it has short sleeves. I love that tee so much, but I just didn't have quite enough yarn for the length that I wanted. And so I am really looking forward to having lots of yarn available. I want to, I think, make another ranunculus, but this time a long sleeve version. And I think that this color will be really fun in the fall. Some beautiful variegation, like gray, mauve-y, kind of like a dusky color. I'm really excited. And the ranunculus was just such a fun experience to knit that I'm feeling like I might knit again, though I'm kind of open to suggestions. I'm not necessarily tied down to that idea. Another sweater I would love to make is the Downtown Hoodie by Tori Knits. And I'm going to use this beautiful yarn. Man, sorry, my shadows are not good right now. This beautiful yarn from Miss Babs that I purchased at Rhinebeck. And I'm going to do stripes with this color. Let's see, this one is called White Peppercorn. And then, what is this one? Sage, I think? Oak Moss. So I'm going to use Oak Moss as the main color, do this creamy color, this, I already forgot to say, White Peppercorn as some stripes or accents on it, and make myself a fun hoodie as like a post-Rhinebeck sweater that I haven't gotten around to yet. But I'm really excited for that. I love these colors. They're very me, and so I really want to make that. And then the last garment that I definitely would love to work on at least to cast on soon. It has kind of an opposite color palette to what I just showed you, which I didn't do intentionally, but they are my colors. So look at this. I've got more of this creamy color and an accent of this green, and literally they are actually really close. This one's maybe a little bit more blue, and that says a lot about me and the things I like. But this is Explorer Knits in the color I think is how this one was pronounced. It's kind of hard to see, but it's got so much dimension in the color, like little pastel-y bits that are like desaturated pastels almost. Like they're very subtle, like a watercolor look almost. And then for this accent, this is Inishmore, I think. I can't remember how it's pronounced. This is from their Ireland collection that they did a little while ago. I was thinking about making an like Allie's sweater, I think it's called, from Sarah Opie of S Knits. I just don't know if that's the pattern that I want to make anymore with this. I just love this yarn and I'd love to cast it on, but I'm not sure what I'll make. I think I will first cast on the downtown hoodie because I know that's what I want to make. For these other two sweater quantities, I'm just not quite sure. So if you have a sweater in mind that you really, really love, let's see, my ranunculus, maybe, yarn is fingering weight. And this Explorer Knits yarn that will maybe be an Allie sweater or whatever that pattern is called is in a DK weight. Let me know if you have any ideas for amazing sweater patterns that you would recommend with those yarns. And then I've got a couple accessories that are not like a personal accessory. They're not like a wearable accessory, if that makes sense. I would love to make a Stella quilt cushion out of these colors from Teeny Button. I was thinking I would use Teeny Button's countdown calendar from last year to make it, and I just didn't feel like it would do the colors justice because they were so variegated and they were kind of a fade, but like really, really saturated. It just wasn't the look that I wanted to go for in a Stella quilt cushion. But I actually was eyeing this yarn for so long from Teeny Button because I thought this would make a beautiful Stella quilt cushion. And I just finally bought it because I was like, if this is really what I want to make out of this yarn, then I should just do it. That's what I'm thinking. I need a background / main color to have with this, but I might do like a Cascade Heritage or a Cascade Heritage sock or one of those, something from my local yarn store that's easy to find, or maybe a Knit Picks, just trying to find the right color cream yarn that will go with this. And then the other non-wearable accessory I'm thinking about making is a case for my e-reader. I have a Kindle and I don't necessarily want to follow the pattern that I think Knit California came up with. Maybe I will, maybe I won't. I haven't decided yet, but I just like the idea of having like a little Kindle sleeve or maybe making a book sleeve or something, especially because I bring books to work in my backpack and they get a little beat up if I take them to and from work a few days. And so it'd be really nice to have like a book cover for them, I feel like. But this is Dragon Horde yarn. This is their old label in the Myth Fingering Base, a 75/25 Sport Merino nylon in the color Bibliophile. And so I thought it would be perfect. And my hardcover Kindle case is like a maroony color that would really work with this. So maybe I will make a book sleeve out of this and then it'll like kind of go with my Kindle a little bit. I haven't quite decided, but something along those lines because this colorway is beautiful and the name is just perfect. Let's talk about some wearable accessories now. This is like one of the only fall colored yarns that I pulled that I'm really leaning towards working with. This is Sewrella yarn and the color is, let's see, Jazz in the Park. And this one is a sweater weather, and these are a perfect pair. I'm thinking about making a shawl, maybe the Autumn in the Foothills shawl, and these beautiful autumn colors, maybe. I'm not decided for sure, but I think a 2-skein shawl is like a really perfect size, honestly, for me. I also have this yarn from Witchfire Fibers that I really don't know what I want to do with, but I want to do something because these colors are speaking to me right now. This is the Summer Surrey base in the color Grand Teton National Park. I just purchased this from her trunk show at Petty Fours and Pearls in July. And then I bought the mini skein set. Pulls the same colors, really stunning. So maybe I'll make a shawl. Maybe I need like white to hold underneath this. I don't really know how I want to do what I want to do. I don't know. I really don't know. But I love these colors. So if you have a really good project in mind to use some minis and some variegated Surrey or some variegated mohair, then let me know because I think this is going to be a shawl of some sort, but I'm not quite sure how it's going to be constructed or if I need other yarn to supplement what's going on here. And then I have this beautiful fingering weight yarn. This is from Nuds and Knits, the American Heritage Collection in the color light gray. It's Romeldale, which is one of their favorite bases, if I remember correctly. I bought this at the Great Basin Fiber Arts Fair, and so I talk about it more in that video. I'll make sure to link that up above and down below. But I've got 2 skeins of this, and I'm thinking I want to make some gloves out of this, something nice and cozy for the winter months. Again, no pattern in mind, so I gotta do some research. Same thing with this. This is Primrose Yarn Co.'s Rowan DK in the color Oasis. Picked it out for my husband, and now I can't remember what he wanted. Part of me thinks he wanted mitts, or like fingerless mitts. I will have to ask him, or I'll have to look at my Rhinebeck vlog to figure out what my plan was with this, but he wanted an accessory. I'd love to make this for him as like a Christmas gift. So we'll see. Maybe if I start now, then I can just work on it when I feel like it and it'll get done in time. But first I gotta figure out what this was supposed to be. And this wouldn't be my channel if we don't talk about potential sock projects. Now, I only pulled a few skeins of things that I know I want to work on, but I'm sure there will be many more socks coming in the coming months. This yarn has been caked up for a while, I think 2 years. This is the October colorway from Woolberry Fiber Co. And I just need to make it into something, whether it's a hat or socks. It needs to be made into something this October season. I also have the Tortured Makers Department yarn from Sewrella Yarn. I got 1 skein of the fingering sock yarn. Beautiful. Oh yeah, you can see like that purple pinky color. And then I got the mini skein set. I'm not sure what I want to make, but I think it would make some really cool socks. Maybe like a hat with some striping. I'm not quite decided on what I want to make, but I would love to work with this color palette because I love, love, love these colors. Yeah, maybe something with some stripes or color blocking might look really cool. And then finally, I have Christmas sock plans for my little family. It's me, my husband, and then my daughter who's 3, turning 4 soon. I had Christmas socks in 2021, the first year I started knitting, and I just had socks for each person, though they weren't matching. And then in 2022, we had matching socks, though I kind of ran out of yarn and had to supplement, and that was a little bit stressful, but everyone got socks and they were cute, they matched. It was great. And then in 2023, the yarn that I wanted was this yarn, but it wasn't gonna come until January because it was a pre-order. And I just wiped it off my hands and said, I will do this next year. I don't have to have Christmas socks every single year. It'll be okay. It can still be a tradition, even if it's not every single year. I don't have a scorecard for this. It's fine. Can you tell I've had to like talk to myself about this a lot? Anyway, so I have the yarn and I have the pattern. I want to make the lights on Maine pattern. It's a minimally textured sock pattern that's inspired by the holiday season by Huga Canyon, I think. And I want to use the same yarns for everybody and have them use the same contrast in the same spot. Like, I want our socks to be very, very matchy-matchy rather than like mix and matchy that I had before because I was trying to supplement when I ran out of yarn. So this is Witchfire Fibers, and this color is called Search for the Perfect Tree from their Home for the Holidays collection. And then this one is going to be the contrast, and it's verdant. When I had just 1 skein of the main color, it was not quite enough. So I made sure to get 2 skeins now that my daughter is growing bigger. And I like some tall socks, especially in the wintertime. So 2 skeins should be plenty. And I have more than just a little mini to supplement. I have a full skein. So I will have plenty of yarn for 3 pairs of socks for my family. And I'm really excited about this. This is like a huge priority project, and I honestly think that I might want to cast on soon so I can get going, so I'm not frantically knitting Christmas socks in December, but we'll see. I haven't quite decided. I might wait just a minute to do that, and maybe I'll do a vlog knitting my family's Christmas socks for Vlogmas this year. I'm not sure. Now that we're here, have all these projects in mind, I'm gonna grab a handful of these yarns that have a specific project in mind for them, and I'm going to pair them with their needles, make sure we're ready to go, get a project bag, and then I'm going to cast on some projects today. another day. Yesterday, time just ran away from me. I had to go pick up my daughter and spend some family time and whatnot. So I'm about halfway through with winding all of this yarn. And I have some work to do. So I'm going to be listening to an audiobook and winding the rest of this yarn. And then prepping all of my project bags for this big cast on. Okay, I now have many projects set aside in project bags. Most of them is just the yarn, though a couple of them I threw in needles, like for socks and things. But a lot of these I will have to look at the patterns and see what needles I need. I'll have to do a gauge swatch, make sure I have all my things in my Notion pouch, and then I can move forward. But I ran out of project bags, so I've got a couple things that are still not put away. That's fine. This is actually very excessive, and I acknowledge that. So right now I am working on a test knit that I needed to cast on. So we're casting on this. We're going to cast on my other test knit to gauge swatch and block, and maybe a couple other things if I have time. Get some things casted on. All right, so I have now a handful of projects that I have cast on over the past day or so, trying to start some things, and it's been a lot harder than I thought it would be because my daughter has had to stay home from daycare because she had a fever. She's feeling totally fine, acting totally fine, but fever can't go. So I've been trying to like piecemeal some time for me to start these projects. So I'm going to talk about the projects that I've started, maybe like 5 or 6 projects that I've actually casted on, and then the other like 5 or 6 projects I've gathered yarn for. I'm not going to cast on right now, but maybe soon, hopefully soon, just kind of depending on what I want to do. But now I have a whole bunch of new projects to work on that I'm really excited about. First and foremost, I have blocking here a gauge swatch. And this is for the Coachella button-up. That's a test for Janine of Knits and Knots Winnipeg. She is actually coming out with another crochet pattern book, and I am testing this design. It is really cute. I'm really excited. Let me show you the yarn I've got. And this is not yarn I've shown before because it actually just came in the mail because I didn't have anything that would fit the bill for this. It needed to be like a cotton blend of yarn. So this is woolen cotton from Knit Picks or We Crochet in the color Sean Heather, and it is 50% merino wool, 50% Pima cotton. The gauge swatch definitely feels like the cotton. It's kind of stiff. I don't think it's gonna grow a ton. I think it'll be nice and sturdy. I picked this because I really liked the stitch definition for a project like this, and I wanted it to be a lightweight type of cottony top for the summer. This gauge swatch is still very wet, but I'm hoping that it'll dry soon and I can figure out my gauge and if I have the correct hook size for that. So I have that set aside somewhere. Where? In this bag. I can't remember which project bag's for what. So I have an E hook for that based on what the pattern recommends, and we'll see how my gauge does. I've got that set aside. I only have 2 skeins wound up right now, but I will wind up more as we get closer to actually making progress on this top. I've also got another test knit, and I have this in this cute little fox project bag that I got from Woolberry Fiber Co. It's the perfect size for just like a 1 skein project. And these are my Louise lace mitts. That's a test knit for Maven Handcrafted. I am on the ribbing before I start the thumb gussets. Nothing super exciting. It's a twisted rib. This is some leftover Knit Picks palette in the color Ice Lily that I had in my stash. So I'm excited to be using some older stash yarn for that. Do I have any other test knits? Not right now, though. I have applied for another test knit recently, and I've got 1 test knit that's basically done being knit. So you'll see those in my next podcast episode, I'm sure. Let's talk garments. So I did a gauge swatch. Where is it? I did a gauge swatch for the Everett pullover. I don't know how well you can see the lighting, but there's this really cute cable detail in it, but not a ton of cabling, so I think it'll be a pretty quick knit. It is bottom up. My gauge is off by a lot. I think I needed like 24 stitches in 4 inches, and I have 20 stitches, which means my stitches are too big, meaning I need to go down in needle size. But I don't know if I necessarily want 6 to 7 inches of positive ease anyway. So I was kind of stuck between 2 sizes where like one seemed a little tighter than I wanted and one seemed a little looser than I would personally want. So what I'm going to do, kind of lying by the seat of my pants, but based on my gauge swatch and knowing that I'll probably loosen up as I knit this more and more, so my stitches will probably end up even bigger, I'm going down in my needle size and I'm going to knit the smaller size, hoping that my gauge will still be a little bit big, not quite as big as this, but a little bit bigger than what is recommended, making the smaller size a little bit looser than it currently would fit me. I don't want it to have 2 inches of positive ease. I would love it to be like 4 to 5 inches of positive ease, and so I'm hoping that those adjustments will make it work. We shall see. I started the ribbing on that, so I'm really happy to have that casted on. I'm doing a lot of ribbing right now, so we'll see which projects I end up going beyond the ribbing for, but right now with casting on, I've done a lot of ribbing today. And this yarn is Knit Picks Swish Worsted in the color Garnet Heather. I love this color. This is gonna be a Christmas sweater. And then I have decided with the DK weight yarn from Explore Knits and Fibers that I just wasn't feeling an alley sweater anymore. Like I wasn't necessarily sold on the fit and the color work wasn't really inspiring me at the moment. I was kind of bummed. I tried really hard to find a pattern that would fit some kind of color work so I could use that other skein of yarn of the Inishmore, but I feel really happy with the idea of doing a ranunculus since I was in the mood to do a ranunculus, and I haven't done a fingering ranunculus yet, and I really like the gauge with a DK weight yarn, so I think I'm gonna just do it with a DK weight yarn and let this beautiful subtle yarn come to life with this. So I've casted it on. I decided to do the wider neckline because I did the smaller neckline before, and I've just found personally I don't mind like a neckline like this, but I prefer necklines that are bigger on my non-knitted items too. I think I'm gonna try it out, do something a little different. I learned a new cast on, and it'll be a really quick knit because it's on size 10 needles, which is just bonkers that there's size 10 needles. It'll work up very fast. And I'll probably have some yarn left over, but I wound up all 4 skeins so I can make it long sleeve or as long as I want, and then we'll see what I do. And then the last thing that I casted on is the tea leaf socks for my daughter. I have this cute little bag that I got from Rhinebeck from Cottontail Farms, and I'm just using, I think it's Cascade Heritage sock in some like white or off-white color. I did a provisional cast on, ta-da, and I am on the ribbing for the sock. So basically you knit the ribbing and then fold it on itself, knit the ribbing together so you have a double cuff, and then you knit the rest of the sock, and then you go back and add the ruffle. So I asked my daughter about it if she still wanted white socks. She said, oh yeah. And then I asked her if she liked the ruffle. She did, so we're doing that. I feel really good about casting on all these projects, starting some new things, and having other projects on deck ready to go when I'm feeling like casting them on, doing another big cast on party. And so I've got a lot of fun projects coming up. Thank you so much for joining me for this video and for hanging out with me. Just a minute, sweetheart, okay? Whoa! You want to do my outro with me? We have a visitor. Thank you so much for joining me as I shared with you the kinds of yarns and projects that are inspiring me right now, as I have had more mojo recently to knit and crochet, and I'm really excited to be able to take you with me as I started a bunch of different projects, and I'm excited to keep working on them and talking about them, you silly girl, and keep talking about them in my upcoming podcast. So make sure to like this video and subscribe down below if you want to keep an eye out on the things that I'll be making soon. Until next time, happy making. Hey.
Till next time, happy making.
Bye.
Bye.